Joining us by phone is Congressman Jonathan Jackson. Congressman Jackson, your father was a part of that Black freedom movement, and the reality is these Jim Crow Christians, they despise what happened. They despise the 1964 Civil Rights Act. They despise the 1965 Voting Rights Act. They despise the 1968 Civil Rights Act known as the Fair Housing Act. They despise Title IX, which came in 1972, which was born out of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. They despise the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1996 that was born out of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. They despise the efforts to achieve equality and inclusion. They despise all of these things, and what we are seeing these right-wing Christian fundamentalists aided by these right-wing fundamentalists that you serve with in Congress, and then you have these nutcases like Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and Governor Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis in Florida and Kay Ivey in Alabama and then Tate Reeves in Mississippi, Bill Lee in Tennessee, Sarah Huckabee in Arkansas, McMaster's in South Carolina. That is what we are seeing, and folk had better pay attention because they absolutely want nothing more than a theocracy to rule this nation.
You have nailed it right on the head. And anytime, and people's theology ought to reflect in their voting. And that's where I think you concretize, demonstrating exactly what this is. If you have Christian values, then therefore you should not be trying to pass a tax cut, returning money to the wealthiest people and giving a Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security cut to those that are most vulnerable and in need. When they talk about government efficiency, we're all for that, but how are they trying to balance that? They're trying to balance it off of the back of those that have been marginalized. And what government efficiency gets wrong, according to Musk, who's not an elected official, who's not taking that step, is the government should be looking at people's vulnerabilities and efficiencies. And you can't see this from a computer screen. It's too impersonal. Those formulas don't show you that there are children whose parents have died that receive Social Security. Those formulas don't show you AI generated what's happening on the ground level. And I've got an enormous amount of respect, having been in this office for 2.5 years, for the people in the federal workforce that have dedicated themselves towards running in the government efficiently. Social Security is a very efficient program. And if they were telling the truth and they have rooted out waste, fraud, and abuse, we should start seeing indictments of individuals. They aren't naming individuals. They are not finding waste, fraud, and abuse. But what you are going to find is that when people are trying to call in to get their Social Security payments, they're not going to be able to talk with anyone. They're going to have offices closed, and you're going to see those that are elderly that need help going to be most vulnerable and left out. And every time they keep talking about these work requirements, Brother Roland, what fundamentally happens is there's so much more red tape. There are already work requirements for the SNAP, the Supplemental Nutritional Program that affects 41 million people, that on average is giving people $2 a day per meal out of a $1.5 trillion budget. We've been hung up in committee for 2.5 years on $30 billion. There is rising malnutrition in the United States. We should be talking about raising supplemental nutritional assistance. In return, they're talking about getting rid of it and reducing this and having more work requirements. The studies show when they continue to do work requirements beyond what's already in the law now, people get frustrated and can't keep up with the volume and onerous amount of paperwork, so they stop applying. So it looks like people have dropped off the rolls because they didn't need it. No, they got frustrated and could not navigate it. So it's very cruel. It happened in Kentucky. It's now moving around the country. And I think the Democrats also, I've started Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Caucus with Congressman Cleo Fields. We can't play around with this name. It is what it is. When you talk about the on-ramp for African Americans and women and others to be able to get into med school, law school, business school, corporations, training programs, that's a direct hit at us. You take down DEI in the military, you get rid of Jackie Robinson, take down DEI in the military, get rid of Colin Powell and Medgar Evers and Harriet Tubman. He's racialized it. So we have to be courageous and defend diversity, equity, inclusion. It's too big a body of an important piece of work that's being discarded. And all that diversity work in medical is called disparities. And they have eliminated the study of maternal health and the outcomes and the issues that are directly affecting us. Where Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth right here in Chicago and most districts around the United States.
These folks, when you look at their policy, when you look at their priorities, when you look at their funding priorities, it is absolutely about the rich. It is absolutely about funding them. It is absolutely about making cuts to the poor, to the needy. These people are not Christians, and the Bible that they believe in is the Trump Lee Greenwood Bible that has the Constitution in it. I mean, and even that's a fraudulent Bible. These people have always been religious frauds. They do not abide by the teachings of Jesus in their public policy. You can't tell me that you love Jesus, yet you will support massive cuts that will lead to poor people dying across the world, and you are down with Elon Musk and Doge doing what they're doing. That is not Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, what they say, you'll know they're Christians by their love. And if they want to go in and have these cuts, we're all there. We've got elected. We filled out the paperwork. We want to participate. Why is he trying to circumvent our co-equal branch of government and circumvent the process? He's not a strong president. If he was strong, he'd be able to introduce a bill, have it come to the floor, and his body would vote upon it. He's trying to do this by fiat and edict to just write things and then tie everything up in court. He's got 200 lawsuits that have been filed, 95 injunctions that are currently going on. The court system, thank God, at the state level is holding. And the case that you mentioned before regarding Oklahoma is something that we should be very, very leery of, because if this goes through and they can redefine this level of religious segregation, does that mean you can have buses just for Christians and just for Arabs and just for other people to transport you to school? Does that mean you have to now have halal and kosher food and all these different things? Like, what exactly are they pushing through? It'd be a resegregation around religious lines that we've not seen before.
Indeed. And so I just want people to understand what's going on and to be very clear that what the right is doing. And listen, you got some Negroes out there. I said this one fool on Instagram always running his mouth. All he's done, see, he talks about how he hates Dems, but really what he's doing is trashing Dems and supporting Trump and their agenda. Mm-hmm. And I see all these little minions sitting here commenting and supporting. And I'm like, you fools don't even realize they don't even like y'all. They don't even like y'all. His law enforcement executive order is going to target black people. The economic policies are going to hurt black people. When you talk about food and goods and services along those lines, this is an absolutely anti-black administration. And any Negro who decides to roll up to the White House and stand with Donald Trump, that's what we say, all skin folk ain't our kinfolk.
Hello.
Pure and simple. Congressman Jonathan Jackson, always a pleasure. Give our best to your dad, Reverend Jackson.
Stay encouraged and keep up the great work, Brother Roland.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a bunch.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.